Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Jesus coming at ya with another PPT. In this tutorial, we'll cover the children of Chasm and begin our explanation of the children of Night, otherwise known as the Progeny of Night. Ready or not, here I come. Alright, as you probably already know, the primordial gods were Chasm, Gia, Tartaros, and Eros. If you don't know, now you know. And if you still don't know, you can go ahead and catch that tuts on the Primo Gods. The one in which we said Chasm is a special nothingness from which the universe began. Well, she had two children she named Night and Erebos, both of whom are two dark spirits. Erebos would be the second floor to the scary basement example we covered last time in the tutorial concerning the primordial gods. So, in a way, we can say Erebus is the darkness below and Night is the darkness above. Now, we know Chasm is an empty space, right? But where exactly is it? Well, there's actually a huge debate about where it's at, because Hesiod kind of threw some curveballs at us. For now, we'll suffice to say it's an empty space that separates Earth from all the realms of hell, or in other words, Tartaros and Erebos. It's important here to note that Night lives in Tartaros, from which she comes out. Peekaboo. That was actually the boxing style of Mike Tyson. It was called the peekaboo. Takes a regular stroll across the sky. Then she goes back home to Tartaros, where we find the House of Night. Moving on. Now, what comes next begins to illuminate a recurring theme in the book. And that theme is... dun 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 dun. Wait for it. The constant conflict between the present generation and the incoming generation. Sound familiar, you good-for-nothing millennials? We first begin to see the structural elements of conflict in the story, with the juxtaposition between Eros and Tartaros being love and hate, and also between Earth and Chasm being the void and the foundation, and again with Night and Erebus being above and below. But when Night and Erebos have two children they name Ether and Emera, we begin to see this comparison of opposites a bit more clearly. Hesiod is very subtly letting us know that something's going down. Ether is the air that fills the space between the earth and heaven, but it also means brightness above. Now, in another book titled Works and Days, also written by Hesiod, he tells us that Zeus rules in the ether. So, in a way, we can say that ether is a part of heaven in the same way that Erebos is a part of hell, and Emera means day. Now, if we say ether is to Erebus what Emera is to Night, what we're really saying is heaven is to hell what day is to night. Sounds kind of weird, I admit. Maybe it's not such a good example. If it kind of makes sense and you get it, cool. If not, don't worry about it. Just keep in mind, the operating idea is that night and day and heaven and hell are both opposites, connected by nature, and difficult to imagine without the other existing. Unless you live in Barrow, Alaska. Ha! Suckers. What Hesiod is saying is these children are the complete opposite of their parents. But this is no ordinary stubborn opposition of a teenage Fonzie. Night gave birth to day because day comes after night. And he does this because his theory of creation is progressive. It moves forward, assuming, of course, distancing yourself from darkness is considered moving forward. It's important to also note that way back then when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. In the days of ancient Greece, the way they understood the universe was much different. And they believed the sun came after day. So later in the book, we will be told about the birth of the sun god. So STD for that. Save the date. After Night and Erebus had their 2 children, they stopped having babies together. Night was like, this dude's whack, his hair, whack, his gear, whack, his jewelry, whack. So instead, she went solo and self-produced a grip of kids. Without the love of any god, she just magically got prego. Somewhere around 17 times. Maybe more, maybe less. No one really knows. Because Hesiod does not clarify this. Well, let's work with what we have here. He does break up the children of Night into groups for us, something for which I'm grateful. The first group of children Night gave birth to were Frightful Doom, Dark Fate, Death, Sleep, and the terrible tribe of dreams. Alright, let's break this down like pigeons break down breadcrumbs. Everything that is dark pretty much came out of Chasm, right? You'd think she was pooping blood. And Night is one of these dark things. The children of Night will represent the things that darken life, either spiritually or in a physical way. So we can say the nature of Night is dark. Similarly, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Similarly, Frightful Doom and Dark Fate are 2 dark things, which share their mother's nature. They both represent an ending of some sort, right? When you're doomed or when you meet your dark fate, it kind of means you're... Keep in mind, we are being told about the birth of the spirit of Frightful Doom and the spirit of Dark Fate.
In other words, these are death demons.
This will be critical to our understanding. Since Frightful Doom and Dark Fates are closely linked with death, then death must have also come from Night. He is pitiless, has a heart of bronze, and a temper made of iron. Once he grabs a hold of someone, the rat bastard never lets that person go. And he is hated by the gods. The message being, death is dangerous even for the deathless. That's a cool quote directly from the monograph of the late and legendary M.L. West. May he rest in peace. I think he passed away in 2015. Actually, that's pretty recent. I feel like if you lived in ancient Greece and reincarnated, and you randomly bumped into him, you would be like, I know that guy. All right, since we tend to sleep at night, sleep has to come from night as well. In other words, sleep is born from night. And we are told that it is soothing as it gently passes over us. Now, here we are being reminded that the general characteristic of sleep is the same as the general characteristic of the god of sleep, which is what we assume in death, as it gently passes over us. I'm like imagining a Sleeping Beauty scenario right now. I don't know why. Much like their mother, sleep and death both live in Tartaros. Kind of like Robert still lives at home in Everybody Loves Raymond. Season 3, episode 7 is a good one. Sleep is the brother of death became a well-recognized idea in Greek arts, culture, and society. Every time I run through this, it reminds me of A New York State of Mind by Nas, which I feel is a cultural response to the song by Billy Joel. Inhale deep like the words of my breath. I never sleep cause sleep is the cousin of death. Since we normally sleep at night, and since we tend to dream whenever we go to sleep, then dreams must also come from night. Hesiod calls them the terrible tribe of dreams, which are in some translations also called nightmares. These were the first 5 children self-produced by night. That concludes our lecture for the day. Read it, write it, say it, quick repeat it. Technologic. Thanks for tuning in. Adios, filos mu.
Bounce, go wow wow.
What a sucker.